In this lecture, we are going to discuss about if statements in Java. The if statement is one of the core instructions in any programming language. With if statements, you can define conditions, and depending if the conditions are true or false, you can execute some code if the condition is true, or execute something else if the condition is false. Let's start by defining a new variable. The variable is of type integer and is equal to 10. Having this, let's prepare our first if statement. I'm going to type if, open some round parentheses, and inside the parentheses we need to specify our if condition. Now let's use our newly defined integer and check if it satisfies the condition of being greater than 5. To achieve that, I'm going to write here var bigger than symbol 5. You probably remember that from the operators lecture. We now need to specify what code the computer should run if this condition is met, meaning our variable is greater than 5. For this, we need to open a set of curly brackets. This is called the body of the if condition. Here we are going to insert a system.out.println statement. Remember the shortcut in IntelliJ for easily creating those statements by typing sout and click enter. And the IDE will add the necessary code for you. So I'm going to specify here a simple line like if statement is true. Another trick related to if statements is that if you have only one line of code inside your if statement body, you can skip adding the curly brackets. This will work just fine in our case. However, if you have multiple lines that need to be executed if the condition is met, then you need to add the curly brackets back. Basically, we are telling the computer to execute something for us, in our case to print something in the console if the condition is met. Let's run this code and see what happens. As you can see, we get the correct line printed out in the console. But what happens if the condition is not true? Let's modify it, put 10 instead of 5, and let's run the code again. As you can see, nothing happens, which is the correct behavior of our program. To capture the possibility of the if statement not being true and to execute some code if this happens, we need to add another statement called the else statement. The else statement can be written like this. As you can see, there are no round brackets because you cannot evaluate the condition as part of the else statement. It will just execute what is inside the else body only if the main if statement condition is not met. Let's add a system.out.println statement for our else as well. Let's run this code again, and as you can see, we get the newly added string printed out in the console. Let's change the initial variable to 10 back, and let's run again. As you may expect, we now get what's inside here in the if statement body, printed in the console, and not the code inside the else statement. Now you may ask how you can use a condition in the else statement. Would that be possible? In order to achieve this, we need to use the else if statement. These statements look like this and can help you test multiple conditions if the ones before them are not true. In this case, we need to make the first condition false again, and then we are testing if the variable is less than 10. Running the code shows that the else if statement has been run. One last thing is that you can use any logical or comparison operator you want, meaning any operator that may return true or false. If you are not familiar with these operators, I recommend you to review the course on operators. For example, you cannot use an addition here, since the addition won't return true or false. That's it. Join me in the next video where we are going to discuss about for loops.